الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. أيها الإخوة والأخوات، سلام الله عليكم ورحمته وبركاته، وحياكم الله جميعا حفظا ومرحبا بكم مجددا مع هذه
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sheikh is welcoming everyone to this new episode
الأول في هذه
of the Fatwa night from Mishkah Center at Houston, Texas. First question, he said, I intended to buy a new restaurant for like Arabian food, but I found inside that place like a section or a department for the wine products or the wine products. It has a very good location. The price is really good. So I tried to buy only that place for the food, but my partner, he said he's ready to buy the other part of the wine, but the contract will be under my name and all the financial related issues will be on my name. So in the end of the week or the month, my my partner will have all the money came out of the wine sales, and I will get all the money from the restaurant department. You know, I asked some friends to give me the advice, and we concluded that no way we can actually divide that place into two different sections. So please, can you give me an advice? Should I buy this place? Sheikh says, well, you are in your first step in that kind of business. So try to find a place or a business that would not get you in any of these haram things. Remember the word of Allah when He said, O Muhammad, say, the good and bad are not equal. Even if you like the bad or the many or the presence of the bad, and fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Remember that wine is like the one of the major khaba'ith or the major bad things. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has cursed the wine, and 10 people who actually would work with wine. The one who squeeze the fruit, the one who drink that, the one who carried, the one who actually it was carried to, and so on. The one who sell it, the one who buy it, the one who like carry that from the market, for example, to the buyer, and so on. So stay away from that. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded or ordered the Muslims to stay away from and to ask mu'mineen to make sure that the mushrikeen or disbelievers should not come close to the masjid, some of them actually were afraid of the poverty, because their life and business, I'm talking about the Muslims, was like in partnership with disbelievers. those who are coming to the Masjid al-Haram. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed this ayah at that time. O who you believe, indeed the disbelievers are najis, are dirt. So they should not get close or close to the Masjid al-Haram after this year. And if you are afraid of that kind of poverty or loss due to losing that kind of business, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you from His fadl, from His great ni'mah, if He wish, if He will. So the conclusion is, if it's easy for you to separate that part of the wine as ownership and management, and just you take your part of that business, like the restaurant part only or department only, there is no any problem with that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make that easy for you. Amjad has received a question similar to that case. You know, like having like a dealership of a food business or a food stores, for example, that has some of the haram. So first of all, Muslim cannot have that type of business, and there are many restrictions on that. You can just refer to that if you go to that website of Amjad, amjadonline.org. This is a question in English. Could women physically participate in the burial of a Muslim deceased person at the cemetery? What is the ruling on women visiting graves few days after the burial? Is it permissible or forbidden for women to visit graves? What is the ruling of women going to clean the area, remove the trash, and take care of such issues in a Muslim cemetery? Is it permissible? So our answer is, if the intention was to ask about the participation of a woman to attend the funeral and to attend the burial, so it's a mashru', but there is karaha on that. Is not something to be liked by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Al-Bukhari and Muslim narrated that Atiyya al-Ansariya, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with it, said we were given an order to not follow the janazah. Al-Hafiz said in his book Fath al-Bari that it was not like 100% assurance on us to not attend. It was just like said to us, do not follow that. So it's makruh to follow the janazah. Again, it's not haram. Is it makruh? It's makruh only. So the majority of the scholars said that it's a makruh, but it's not haram. Al-Imam al-Nawawi said in his book Al-Majmu', so men, it's good for them to follow the janazah until the burial process is complete, according to the hadith sahih. But women, again, it's a makruh for them to follow the janazah, but it's not haram. Some restrictions we have to consider here. So a woman can go, for example, to attend without actually mix with men. And also she should not be actually wearing something that men would pay attention to her or keep the eyes on her or so. So the visit of the cemetery after that burial day, there are many issues here. The majority of the scholars actually they said this is jaiz, especially if that woman feel like this is a great musibah, a great like trial. She has to consider also like this shari issues. She should not actually mix with men and avoid any fitna. Aisha said, she said, "O Prophet of Allah, what should I say when I visit the cemetery or the graves?" The Prophet said, "Say Assalamu ala the people, peace are upon the people of this uh, graves of believers and Muslims. May Allah forgive those who precede us and those who are coming after us." There is another hadith that the Prophet ﷺ cursed those who visit the cemeteries or the graves, but all the shuyukh or scholars said, especially Al-Qurtubi said, this curse mentioned in that hadith for those ladies who actually visit the graves too much. So there is no need to visit too much, maybe once a while or so. There is a hadith that the Prophet ﷺ passed by a lady weeping at the qabr, at the cemetery or a grave, and he said, "Fear Allah and be patient." She said, "Stay away from me. You were not touched by this musibah like me." She didn't know him, so people came and told her he's a Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the lady came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam at his place and she couldn't find him. And then she told him, "I didn't know you." So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam simply, nicely, kindly said, "Indeed, sabr or patience is at the first shock." So there is nothing wrong with a woman going to clean the to the cemetery or the around the graves, removing all the like the trash or so, as long as she followed the adab or the. I traveled to the distance of 70 miles from my residence and I completed my work there in another city in few hours. Then I came to the place to attend a conference for 2 days. This place is around 30 miles away from my home. Could I continue combining my prayers and doing qasr till I go back to my home, or I will be considered a non-traveler as I'm within the approximately of 30 miles from my home? Please advise. As Sheikh says, in this case, somebody left his home traveling. Uh, I'm just going to bring your attention to the word qasr. So the traveler is the default is al qasr, but al jam', the combine the prayers, is this is actually the excuse or the rukhsa. So somebody's traveling for any distance, for example, he can do the qasr prayer for like 4 days.
has been asking me to leave his house.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. My husband has been asking me to leave his house for so many months. He said, I have given you for a talaq. What does he mean? Whenever he's angry, he says stuff like this. How can we find out if he really means it or not? Sheikh says he doesn't know because he doesn't know the intention of the husband. Like obviously he doesn't know.
زوجي سألني أن أفارق البيت لأنه طلقني أنا طلقت 40. هل هو فعلا يعني هذا طلقنا ولا طلقنا؟ هذا يعني لا يزوج.
Sheikh says, my daughter, ask your husband to call us, call me, so we can get his intention. We can ask him, what did he mean by that word? Did he intend talaq or divorce? This question came from ISGH, I think. So, could you please maybe like make a conference call or something? We can actually learn from him what he intended. Then we can give you the right advice. Next question is reciting Surah Yasin and parts of Surah Al Baqarah allowed on the grave immediately after the burial and also whenever we visit our father's grave later on. Like just right after the burial, can we recite Yasin and the juz or a part of Al Baqarah? Sheikh says there are like many options on that between the scholars. So, but I go for the like the right part of it is just like makruh, is not a part of what Salaf used to do. Whatever was narrated here is like so weak, da'if. Abi Dawood and other people said the Prophet ﷺ said, recite Yasin on your deceased people or mayyit. So all the scholars or the majority of the scholars actually said hadith is da'if. Ad-Dar Qutni said this hadith is da'if and it's unknown the matn of that and nothing of that is just correct. In general, recitation of Quran in general and given its reward to the deceased person is something good. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept that. But do not say, well, it has to be at the qabr, it has to be at the, do not say that. So, and also do not say, well, it has to be Yasin. We are talking about the Quran in general. We did not say specifically Yasin or specifically at the qabr. No, all the surahs of the Quran, they have good on people, either living people or deceased people, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the best. Next question. My wife and I are Muslims living in America. We have married in one of the Islamic centers here, and we documented our marriage in the civil court. We have 2 kids. So, and one day, I was like so angry, and I said, I divorce you by 3 times if she doesn't call my father in his birthday. And knowing that, I already know that she does not have a good she's in a conflict or friction with my dad. My niyyah, my intention was just like to threaten her, not, I didn't even intend the talaq or the divorce. But she refused that and she told me to leave the house since I already divorced her. It's not suitable or not appropriate to live together. I told her like I did not intend talaq, but I left home after she insisted to do that. After 3 months, after 3 months, she went to live with her family. Again, I am insistent that I've never divorced this lady or that wife. I have actually bought food for 10 masakin. 10 times I paid the kafara of that yameen. After 6 months, she actually saw me in front of the American court for like a divorce. She requested official divorce. So she was trying to force me to divorce her under, like the pressure from her family. The court already made that decision and we are divorced right now by. It's a long question. You know, she already said that, or the story actually came like this is like kafarat yamin. So the kafara of this yamin is to feed like 10 poor people from like the, like the modest of the food or the middle class of the food that you eat from. And Amja has an article on that about like the if you make that yamin or that half on talaq, if you did not mean this one, so you have to do this kafarat yamin. So you are not accountable for even once or twice or 3 times. But if she has reached that situation or that, uh, you know, situation, so I think it's better for you to just divorce. بإحسان. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would replace you, another one. Again, I'm taking from your word that you did not have the intention. So that's just a kafarat yami. What is the hukm of what uh, what employer would pay as interest for the salaries? Somebody, so his employer, for example, is that like riba? So this is just like, for example, if the court would pay you, for example, the, if the court give you that right plus whatever interest due to the amount of time or the amount of weeks or months or years, well, you can take just like your part and give the other one. But if you want to take the whole thing, that's actually their law. So what is the hukm of taking a loan to perform umrah? Sheikh says, well, I don't recommend that. Or if you are sure that you can pay that on time, do it. But I don't actually prefer something like. Is the thawab of umrah considered or dependent on food and like the housing and the physical activity during ibadah. You know, like Sheikh says, well, the fadl of Allah is great during the time of Umrah, during every time.
هل فضل شرب زمزم مرهون بالمكان هناك أو لو أحضرت معهم مكة زمن؟ لا، فضل شرب زمزم حيث ما شرب زمزم
Is the fadl of drinking the water of Zamzam
إلى المدينة
uh,
من مكة.
to be only around that well of Zamzam, or if you bring some with you from Mecca, it could have the same virtue or the same fadl. Sheikh says, well, it's not. It doesn't have to be at the will. If you bring some with you, if you drink some of it in another place, it still have the same goodness, inshallah.
الشخص على أجساد عارية في الشارع أو تمر من أمامه
In the West,
وغض البصر
sometimes the eye of some Muslim people would look at like naked, uh, 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 ladies in the street or in the store.
بغض بصرك ما استطعت
How can you
وفي مغالبة
make this the sight غض البصر,
كل المؤمنين يغضوا من
as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, O Muhammad, say to believers to, like stay away from looking at haram. Like again, Sheikh says like the sudden look, you're not accountable for that. And then also if you look at a lady without desire, like for example, a teacher is teaching like women in a school, or a physician looking at the patient, or a judge looking at a lady is describing her case or her situation, for example, and so on. So that's not haram. That's rukhsa in that kind of situations. But again, the first one is to you, the second one is against you. In our Muslim community, they are in Yugoslavia, for example. I think that's the country. They bury the deceased body with like cascades, just like the West. Is it ithm to do that? Sheikh says, well, there is no problem with that. Some people here in America sometimes actually they fill that cascades with the dust or the dirt. Sometimes this situation would be like a must for some kind of like soil that it's so wet or so full of water or so moist soil, for example. So the default is to bury the deceased body in just the dirt or the dust. But if the soil or that dirt might require, or the regulations in that country or that state would require something different, like putting the body in a cascade, again, that's actually okay. The question is about the day of traveling or the day of arrival, the departure and arrival. Is it among these 4 days that you would make qasr of prayers or jam' combination? Sheikh says this one is included, 4 days including the whole thing. So the day of traveling, the day of arrival, they are actually
أجره
included.
الله على أسية الناس على عمله الصالح فلا تبتئس فإن هذا من عاجل مشكور. الله سبحانه وتعالى يأتي بقلوب الصالحين بقلوب عباده إلى عبادة الصالحين. إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات سيجعل لهم الرحمن ودا يلقي محبته في قلوب الناس ويلقي الثناء عليهم على ألسنة الناس وجعلنا لهم لسان الصدق في الآخرين والناس شهداء الله في الأرض وألسنة الخلق أقلام الحق هناك توابيت حديثة مصنوعة من الفطور الطبيعية لتجعل تحلل
I'm sorry I couldn't get that last question.
الأعشاب لا علم عندي
Uh,
الله أعلم يعني على كل حال الأصل على
the question is about somebody saying there are some cascades made of like natural materials. It would help actually speed up the get the body like analyzed quickly or dissolve quickly. It's full of like herbs. Is it jaiz? Sheikh says I don't have any idea about that. If we feed us with more, provide us with more information about that, we can actually give the right fatwa. Is the day counted in Sharia, according to Sharia, from the sunset or the beginning of the day after Fajr? Well, Sheikh says, well, usually the day starts from the sunset. Next question. I work as a massage therapist, men to men and women to women. For Muslim is halal. So the origin or the default of what you just you mentioned here is halal, but we have to pay attention to what we do when we try to make a hukm here. So for example, when there is like a different sex here, like a man with women or a woman with men. So Amja has an article here. Let me just bring it to this discussion. So again, let's just look at the physicians. So again, the default or the origin of that kind of relationship that a Muslim woman physician should treat a Muslim woman. So if it's not available, so then a non-Muslim physician lady, a lady. And then if that one is not available, so then a Muslim physician, a man. And then if you don't find all of them, the previous ones, then a male physician who is not Muslim. So massage is a little bit different. If it's treated or it's considered as medicine or medication, and there is must to have that type as treatment, and there is no somebody to do it, well, you can follow the same four cases that we just listed above. It's not like for medication, so it's prevented. We should not do it. Last question. My oldest son is 26, alone all day, stay up late at night, sleep till midday. He always walks around angry and depressed. Everything he needs the conclude. Bottom line, he has a lot of problems, depression and anger. Make dua for him, my sister. Seek the times of dua. There are some times when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept. Try to find him like good company in the masjid. Try to find him somebody like a good like psychologist or psychiatrist. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would ease your situation and make that situation be easy on you and him. And also pay sadaqah. Use the sadaqah to help him. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it from you and make him among those who would be treated and would be cured, inshallah. Sheikh in the end is making dua for everybody.
أن يلقى المستضعفين من المسلمين حيثما كانوا في المشارق والمغارب في أكناف بيت المقدس وفي فلسطين عامة
Making dua for the people in around the Masjid al-Aqsa and Sudan and Iraq and Yemen and Kurdistan and Pakistan and Afghanistan and every place that Muslims are tested.
اللهم اشف صدور قوم المؤمنين
May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provide Muslims with victory over their enemies. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put this fire that was made by non-Muslims. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive our parents and our grandparents and forgive our parents. Make them among those who inherit Jannatul Firdaus. Jazakumullah khairan wassalamu alaikum.